This is the weekly sales meeting for November 2nd, 2025. My name is Chris Fleming. You can reach me at chris@cdmediaconsulting.com or go to our website at cdmediaconsulting.com. Today's topic is speak with purpose, not pressure. The way we speak matters just as much as what we say. When a seller speaks with purpose, it signals clarity, confidence, and respect. When a seller speaks with pressure, it signals desperation, confusion, and fear. Buyers can feel the difference immediately. In today's market, business owners are more informed. Because of that, they are more skeptical, and many feel overwhelmed. In this environment, the pressure approach doesn't only fall flat, it often backfires. Purposeful speech begins with preparation. Every word you say should serve a purpose. Every question aimed at uncovering insight. Every statement crafted to add value. That kind of intentionality builds trust. Pressure does the opposite. It rushes the process. It turns meaningful conversations into forgettable transactions. And in sales, transactions do not build loyalty. Relationships do. Stephen Covey was the author of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He put it this way: trust is the glue of life. It's the foundational principle that holds all relationships. Purpose builds that foundation. Pressure cracks it. Consider how buyers react under pressure. When they feel pushed, they retreat. Research from Gartner finds that buyers who experience high-pressure tactics are 39% less likely to move forward. That includes times when the solution fits their needs. Why? Because they feel like their control is being taken away. The converse is also true. Think about these actions that relieve the pressure. Asking insightful questions, showing a genuine interest, taking the time to understand the buyer's situation. When this happens, the same buyer becomes 52% more likely to stay engaged throughout the sales process. That's the power of communicating with purpose. One of the biggest mistakes we make is thinking that urgency must be manufactured. We try to create a false sense of scarcity. We push artificial deadlines. We rush decisions. The customer has their own deadlines and their own sense of urgency. Buyers today are not fooled. They are more turned off by pressure than ever before. HubSpot's data shows 70% of business buyers say they are less likely to buy from a company that uses high-pressure sales tactics. And this is even true if they were interested in making a purchase. Buyers want clarity, not chaos. They want to feel confident in their decisions, not cornered into it. Speaking with purpose reflects well on your brand. The salesperson is often the first real human contact a prospect has with a company. If that contact feels rushed, manipulative, or shallow, it leaves a lasting impression, and it is not a good one. But when the seller takes time to listen, to guide, to clarify, buyers begin to see the company as a partner, not a pusher. This emotional shift makes a major difference in long-term value. Buyers who use the term trusted advisor to describe their vendor partners are the gold standard. This is according to McKinsey & Company. They are 2.5 times more likely to renew contracts and 3 times more likely to expand the relationship. Speaking with purpose also means knowing when not to speak. Silence is not the enemy, it's a tool. Skilled sellers know that moments of quiet give the buyer space to think. That is often when the truth comes out. Chris Voss is the former FBI hostage negotiator turned business advisor. He explains this to perfection in his book, Never Split the Difference. He says, "He who has learned to disagree without being disagreeable has discovered the most valuable secret to negotiation." That secret begins with listening, not lecturing. It begins with pausing, not pressing. There is also the mental cost to speaking with pressure. When you feel you must always be closing, always pushing, you tend to burn out. It's exhausting to sell with pressure because it goes against the natural flow of conversation. It feels forced. Over time, it becomes ineffective. Sellers who operate with purpose feel more confident. They know why they're saying what they're saying. They ask better questions. They receive more honest answers, and they build pipelines based on fit, not force. That's more sustainable, that's more enjoyable, and that's more profitable. Trust is the most important currency in sales. According to Salesforce's 2023 State of Sales report, 87% of buyers say that trust is a number one factor in choosing a partner. It is not the price. It is not speed. It is not a feature. It's trust, and trust is built, not bought. You build it by showing you understand the buyer's world. You build it by showing that your goal is not to sell something at all costs, but to help solve a problem. Speaking with purpose communicates that goal. Speaking with pressure does not. Pressure is not only unhelpful, but it is also a sign that the seller doesn't believe in their own value. When you are confident in what you offer, you don't beg for business. You present a clear, compelling case and then let the buyer decide. That doesn't mean you are passive. It means you are respectful. It means you know that true persuasion comes from alignment, not aggression. In the words of Peter Drucker, the most important thing in communication is hearing what isn't said. And that's something pressure always drowns out. Purposeful speech makes room for it. Buyers today are surrounded by noise. It could be emails, ads, cold calls, and endless meetings. Buyers are bombarded with demands for their attention. If your sales language adds to the noise, you lose. But if your words cut through the noise with clarity, relevance, and empathy, you win. And the way to do that is to speak with purpose. Ask questions that matter. Offer insights that show you've done your homework. Frame your value in terms of the connection to the customer's goals. That's how you earn attention. That's how you earn trust. Imagine two sellers approaching the same business. One opens with, "We're running a promotion this month and I'd love to tell you about it." That's pressure. It's about the seller's need. The other opens with, "I noticed your team has recently gone through a digital transformation. How is that impacting your customer response times?" That's purpose. It's about the buyer's world. It shows awareness, curiosity, and relevance. And it immediately changes the tone of the conversation. Buyers don't need more pitches, they need more partners. This works because it aligns with how decisions are made in any business. Buyers don't wake up looking to buy something. They wake up trying to solve problems, hit goals, avoid risk, and improve their outcomes. Sellers who speak with pressure try to insert themselves into the process. Sellers who speak with purpose align themselves with the process. That's a major difference. It shifts the dynamic from confrontation to collaboration. It also changes how objections are handled. When a seller is pressuring, any resistance feels like rejection. The seller gets flustered, defensive, desperate. But when a seller is speaking with purpose, objections become opportunities. They're seen as a chance to learn more and to refine the value. It builds trust. That's the mindset that wins deals. That's the kind of seller buyers want to work with again. Purposeful speech becomes a habit. It becomes part of your sales culture. Teams that adopt this mindset begin to approach every call, every email, and every meeting with intentionality, and that transforms performance. According to the Rain Group, sales teams that lead with value-based conversations are winning. Leading with customer-focused value gives you a competitive edge. When you lead with price or promotion, you fail to differentiate yourself. Those that lead with customer-focused value close 27% more deals on average. Why? Because they're not selling, they're solving problems, and buyers can feel the difference. Now, let's be clear, urgency is not the enemy, false urgency is. There's a big difference between helping a buyer recognize the cost of delay and trying to bully them into signing today. Purposeful selling includes urgency, but it is rooted in facts, not fear. A seller might say, based on what you've shared, every week you delay implementing this, it costs your team 3 to 5 sales on average. That's purposeful. That's persuasive. It respects the buyer's intelligence and it motivates without manipulating. When sellers speak with purpose, they protect their most valuable asset, which is time. They qualify faster, pursue smarter, and focus only on prospects who align. They don't chase every opportunity. These sellers prioritize the right ones. This intentional approach boosts all the metrics that matter. It leads to better conversion rates. You get larger deal sizes. This is a stronger long-term value. It's not about saying more, it's about saying what matters to the people who matter, and doing it in such a way that it resonates. Purposeful speech isn't just efficient, it's effective, and that effectiveness drives real, measurable sales success. Speaking with purpose also delivers a powerful psychological edge. It builds confidence. When you're clear on what you're saying, why it matters, and how it serves the buyer, you set yourself apart. You no longer scramble to prove your value, you are projecting it with natural enthusiasm. That shift changes everything. Your tone becomes steady. Your presence feels stronger. You stop chasing approval and start leading the conversation. That shift from chasing to choosing is what separates the average seller from the trusted advisor. Buyers respond to that kind of energy. They're not looking to be sold. They are looking to be seen, heard, and understood. They want to know their time is respected. Purposeful communication sends that clear message. It says, without needing to say it outright, I came prepared. I've done my homework. I'm here for a reason. That silent message carries weight. It builds credibility before the first solution is ever discussed. That kind of unspoken professionalism speaks louder than any sales pitch ever could. Speaking with purpose isn't just another sales technique. It's a mindset. It means choosing clarity instead of clutter, delivering insight instead of chasing impulse. It means building partnerships instead of applying pressure. It's not about being polished, it's about being intentional. And in a crowded marketplace where products can look alike and pricing is tight, your words become your edge. Purposeful speech cuts through the noise. It signals real credibility, and that is what earns trust. It's not a soft skill, it's a serious advantage. Let other sellers chase shortcuts. Let them rush pitches. Let the other guys slash their prices. You don't have to sell that way. When you speak with purpose, you separate yourself from the noise. You show up prepared, focused, and confident. You lead with insight instead of urgency, and that earns trust. The kind that turns conversations into commitments and prospects into partners. Trust isn't just important, it's everything. Howard Schultz, the former CEO of Starbucks, once said success is best when it's shared. In sales, that success begins when you stop pressuring and start connecting. Speaking with purpose shows your buyer that you're not just there to sell, you're there to understand. It makes them feel heard, valued, and respected. That feeling creates trust, and trust creates customers. Buyers don't remember the pitch, they remember how you treated them. Purposeful words build lasting partnerships. That is what drives your long-term success. My new book, Double Your Revenue, is now available on Amazon.com. If you like what you have heard here today, please consider ordering a copy, or two. You can always send one to a friend. Go to cdmediaconsulting.com right now and follow the instructions to order.